Hey crafty friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky DIY, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba, Canada. Smackdown is the technique that we are exploring for our flashback video today. This was the very first technique video that I did on my YouTube channel, and it's still one that I really like because you take a background stamp. I'm actually using this, I think it's confetti, and the snowflake from Iconic Imagery. And you create your own background, and you can add as many colors and variations as you want. So we've got for our pieces a piece of Night of Navy, which is 3.5 by 1 3/4, 1.5 by 3 1/4 for our basic white. The part that we're going to be stamping on is basic white 3 3/4 by 5. And then I've got an Azure Afternoon card base, and then a matte layer that is 1/4 of an inch smaller. This tutorial will be linked in the description as well. So you can choose to do one stamp at a time, but I'm actually going to ink up both of them and do them both at the same time. The colors that I'm using are in the blues: Balmy, Azure Afternoon, Misty Moonlight, and Night of Navy. I prefer going from light to dark and building up the color as I go. Now there's two reasons for that. Reason number one is because I am lazy and I don't want to wash my stamp between every single color addition. And also, whoops, I just lost my train of thought. It'll help me as I'm going and building up the color layers. Okay. Also, if I do mess up and my stamp is not completely clear, I don't need to worry about Night of Navy getting into my Balmy Blue. It's less of a big deal for your lighter inks to be onto your darker ink pad than it is the other way around, because then you have to rinse it out, re-ink it. It's a whole thing. So I'm just going to keep stamping. This is as much Balmy Blue as I'm going to put on for now. I might change my mind later. And I'm just going to keep stamping and basically smacking it down until my stamp is relatively clean. And we're going to close our pad. You want to hear that pop. Now, I want to share with you too a really cool technique that I discovered for opening ink pads. So we all have ink pads that don't always want to open, and it can be a bit of a struggle to open it the traditional way. I can't remember who I saw this from, but if I do find it, I will link in the comments and give credit. On the hinge part, you put your thumbs and then just give it a press, and it pops open like magic. Now, I haven't discovered a magic way to make it slide back, but opening, so easy. Okay, now we're going to ink up Azure Afternoon and just randomly stamp. You can turn, whoops, you can turn your stamp, you can turn your paper. Just make sure that you're not stamping in the same place. And there will be a tag for this card. So if you're at all concerned about an area that doesn't have the coverage that you want, not a big deal, because you can cover it up. And I am just going to keep going until I am content. And then we're going to add our next color. Now I do have a little bit of ink. I can't believe my roll of paper towels has vanished. Oh well, on to the Misty Moonlight. And then we're just going to keep changing and adding the color until we get the coverage that we want. I'm probably not going to get 100% coverage on this, but you also want to kind of mask what the background is. I mean, this snowflake is fairly linear, so it's not going to be, whoops, 100% not visible what it is. But we're just going to keep adding and layering. I'm making a hot mess of this block, aren't I? All right, and then Night of Navy. And my fingers. You know what? If you didn't get inky, did you even craft? I don't think you did. Okay. And then I'm going to grab a clean block, I think. Okay. There we go. You can still see a little bit of each of the colors. Let me see. I had another block handy, I thought. Well, you know what? We're going to do this. Plop this guy onto our... And then we're just going to close our Night of Navy. I actually think I should rinse that and get that ink spillage cleaned up. No idea how that happened. And then I'm just going to clean off the block. There, that's good enough for now. I'll give it a good rinse under running water after we're done. So there's our Smackdown technique. See how much ink I can get on the rest of our stuff today. And I'm actually going to use dimensionals on this. Okay. I actually keep my dimensional back and I pull them off when I need a strip or to adhere it with something because it's exactly the same material as the dimensionals and 0 point in tossing it. Okay, we're going to aim for center for this guy, or as close to center as we can get. Not quite centered, but it's fine. I'm going to pop this guy, just lay it flat. It's been lovely and sunny here, and my supervisor Bailey has been laying on my craft table lately. She thinks it's her space. I don't know. She's a cat. What can I say? And then again, we're going to aim for center here. And grab our strips. I was going to use, maybe I still will use, we're going to use Celebrate and The Season as our sentiment pieces. Stick that on my tape so I don't lose it. I'm going to put the confetti piece back in, whoops, and grab our snowflake again. All right. And hopefully we're not going to get covered. Probably will, but it's fine. Okay, so Celebrate. Holy heck, I'm making a hot mess with this today. Okay, so there's the Celebrate. Stamped decently, even though I kind of went off the rails with the ink. Not a big deal. Crumpled paper works like a charm. And then we're going to do Misty Moonlight for the season. I think is where we're going to put it. Now there are dies that coordinate with the stamp set. This is actually being released July 3rd. But I'm not in the mood to grab the dies today. Okay, and there's the season. And then I'm going to grab my paper again. Stamp it off to get as clean of an impression as we can. All right. And then we're going to grab the Balmy Blue, which is our lightest color. And then we're just going to put the snowflake. Did that even ink up? I'm sure it did. It doesn't look very... There we go. Blues do tend to stain your card stock as well, or your stamp, I should say. So usually You can kind of avoid that a little bit by either coating your stamp with Versamark or the lightest color of ink that you have, and then that'll offer it a little bit of protection. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other if I've got a stained stamp, because the impression is still exactly the same. Okay, then we're going to stick this onto our Night of Navy. So all of our colors coordinate with each other. Oh, and there's a fingerprint. Kel Surprise. I'll fix that up in a minute. So I'm just going to grab this and this. I don't know, my friend in Alberta and I tease each other that we're both kind of the Hot Mess Express of crafting. Today, I think I've earned that title. Okay, so there's Celebrate the Season. Now, I thought I had rhinestones. Oh, actually, I have these guys. I can't remember if they're current or not. I'll have to look. But they're blue and they're pretty, so we're going to use them. Put that one right in the center of our snowflake, which happens to be the beginning of the sea. I totally did not plan that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Maybe we'll do... I feel like it needs another one. I gotta remove this cat fur as well. Yeah, I usually like odd numbers, so we'll add... Oh my gosh, my fingers are not wanting to work today. Put that one there. Come on. There we go. And then we'll put that one there. All right. So there is our Smackdown technique, Celebrate the Season, inspired by blue, apparently. If you give this a try, please let me know how you liked this technique. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you're notified every single time a brand new video comes live. And the measurements and supplies used will be linked down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.